everybody! Today we are making pizza dough and I'm so excited. I've got my little Italian bunny ears that I caught during the Italian American parade last St. Joseph's Day in celebration. So go ahead and take a second to put on your silliest hat or costume and we are going to get started in the kitchen. You're going to find the recipe in the link below. There should also be some fun pizza activities that you can do while you're waiting for your dough to rise, and also with your parents in and around this time. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm gonna do, I've got all of my things basically on this side. All right, first thing we're gonna do is we are going to do 1 cup of flour. We're gonna do our dry ingredients in here. So I'm gonna put this in here. Shake it over the top. Where am I at? A little over a cup. There we go. 1 cup of flour. Now the next thing I am going to do is I am going to do 1 packet of yeast. There are some yeastless recipes online. We're going to use the yeast so we get that nice fluffy crust. And I'm going to cut it open and sprinkle it in. That's all 1 packet. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to do some sugar. And the little yeasties are going to eat up that sugar and flour. All right, so I need 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. I've got my 1 teaspoon right here. Shake it over the bag, put it on in. Now this is a 1/4 teaspoon. I don't know where my 1/2 teaspoon went, to be perfectly honest. So how many 1/4 teaspoons am I going to need to get to be a 1/2 teaspoon? Do you know? If you said 2, then you are absolutely right. I am going to need 2 1/4 teaspoons. So 1, and that's 1/4 teaspoon. Another 1/4 teaspoon, and we're now at 1/2. All right. So we need a little bit of salt. This is also in the same thing. This is my 1/4 teaspoon, and I need 3/4 teaspoons. So I'm going to take a second while you think about exactly how many of these 1/4 teaspoons I need of salt to get to 3/4 teaspoons. Ready? Take a second. Dance break. 3? Was it 3? You are correct. So here we go. Remember, always do it over the bowl. So if you overfill, you can compensate. So that's 1/4. Shake. 1/2. And 3/4 teaspoon. If I did 1 more 1/4 teaspoon, then I would be at what? 1 whole teaspoon, absolutely. Now I'm going to add a little bit of flavor. I'm going to add some basil. I'm only going to add a 1/4 teaspoon. Oh, that is fragrant. This is just to add a little kick to the dough. And then 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. I might actually add a tiny bit more because I love garlic so much. This is a roasted garlic too, yum. So I'm actually going to do a heaping teaspoon on that. See how you can see it above that red line? A heaping 1/4 teaspoon, I should say. All right. I'm going to take my little spoon, mix all these ingredients together. I want to make sure that you don't see any chunks of garlic or basil, and by doing that I scrape around the edges and fold in. Okay, so now our yeast is in there, but in order to activate the yeast we need water, and particularly we need warm water. I happen to have a sink that runs incredibly hot, and so I'm about to add it straight from the sink. Usually you want it around, I think it's 120 degrees. So pretty darn warm, but you don't necessarily want it to be like boiling, boiling, boiling. All right, so I'm gonna add my 3/4 cup, and in here I have 1 cup. So I'm only gonna add just a little. There, I'm at 1/4 left. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of olive oil. I need 2 tablespoons. I'm going to use a lot more olive oil coming up. Now you'll see in the recipe that it calls specifically, the recipe calls for 2 1/3 cup of flour. We're going to add the rest of the flour in a second, but first I'm going to stir this mixture together. You're going to start seeing bubbles in it. The light, that's kind of hard to see, but I want to get it to look all about the same. Nice and creamy. Scrape the sides of the bowls, and remember, scrape and fold in. Scrape and fold in. That gets all of the flour that's sitting at the bottom and puts it right into the middle where it's flat. All right, now it's time for more flour. Right now it kind of looks, ooh, there we go. It kind of looks like scrambled eggs. That's not gonna do too much for us right now. So I'm gonna do another cup of flour. Shake it to be even. Ooh, 1 cup on the dot. Killing it today. All right, there we go. And now you're gonna do the same thing. Remember, you're folding, which is scraping the sides and turning it in. So scrape and fold in. There we go, and you want to do a little bit of stirring. It's gonna start breaking up a little bit and looking a little flaky. Find those spots in your dough that are particularly wet and try and flick the flour that's on the side into it, and you can always press it in. Oh yeah, this is looking lovely. Okay. Oh, and it smells amazing. I think it's that roasted garlic, but I'm a little biased. Okay. I'm gonna come around. It's gonna look similar to this. Okay. Now, with my very clean hands, I'm going to push. Oh, and you can feel the warmth of that water. And I'm just gonna push down. I wanna get all of these little balls all together. So I am going to use my hands to clump it together, push it together, and start to lightly knead. I don't wanna knead it too much. And that's knead, K-N-E-A-D. And that's, I'm gonna find the wet spots, push it into the flour. There we go. All right, it's very, very soft. And I want it to be slightly sticky, so I think it has a little too much flour. As the flour gets worked in to the wet spots, it's gonna start to become a little less easy to work with and a lot more sticky. Okay, so now I'm curling it into a ball. There we go. Do you see how it's getting smooth right there? That's good. All right. It is now in a ball. All right. So normally what I would do is I would put it in a big bowl just like this. Thing is, I only have one that's gonna be that shape, and that might be the case at your house too. So I'm actually gonna do something a little bit weird, and I'm gonna put it in my giant 4-cup measuring cup. The first thing I wanna do though, is I need to coat it in olive oil. So I'm just gonna put a big bunch in there, And then I'm going to swish it and slightly roll it around so it gets all the way to the top. Now, when you're letting this dough rise, this particular one needs to have olive oil coated on the entirety of it. So I have a little bit left on my bottom. I'm going to pour that onto my little pizza dough roll, and I am going to cover it all around. You want the pizza dough to also be covered in olive oil. And then, all right, it's nice and olive oily now. And then I am going to stick it in here, push it onto the bottom. That's a lot of olive oil. All right, now I'm going to cover the top with saran wrap. And I want to make sure it's really tight all around. And I am going to let this right here sit for 30 minutes. It should double in size. We're gonna find out. All right, I'll see you in 30 minutes. Ah, look how big my pizza dough is. That's huge. It's huge. It just exploded. Well, now it's time to roll this sucker out. All right, I'm gonna take off the top. Oh, and it's bubbling in there, the olive oil, all of that. There's a little skin on the top. You'll notice when you touch it that it's a little firmer. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I've got this parchment paper, and I am going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on it right now. Just kind of wipe it around. I'm gonna use my baking sheet to hold that down. Okay. I'm gonna probably need a little bit more flour, but that's in a second. I'm gonna take this puppy out. Oh my goodness. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna knead it ever so lightly onto the flour and punch a tiny bit of the air out of it. We don't need it to be so giant. So just gently use your fists and push down. You might as well flatten it a little bit because it's about to be flat anyways in just a second. There we go. Perfect. All right. Now I'm going to use a tiny bit of flour on the top part. Sprinkle it on like that. There's a couple of ways that you can go forward from here. You can cover your rolling pin with flour and start pressing from the middle out, or what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add another sheet on top. So I'm going to smoosh it down like that. Now I'm going to take my rolling pin and I'm going to work from the middle out. So you're just going to pull it towards you and push away. I want it to be about the size of this baking sheet, okay? So I'm gonna eyeball it a little bit. I wanna make sure it's going a long way. So you go from the middle and push out, the middle and push out. You can always make a crust on it a little bit later. Okay. That in here. And you can already see I've got this lovely, lovely crust. I'm going to take it off of the parchment paper, straighten it out a little bit. I'm going to put my parchment paper back on top. And I want it to be like a rectangle. Pushing out, pushing, rolling out. Always go from the center outward. All right, I think we're good. All right. So you can see how lovely and flat that is. Now what I'm going to do, it's got plenty of oil, and this is a nonstick pan, but I am going to transfer it onto my baking sheet and then peel off the other parchment paper. All right, now I'm going to smoosh it into the corners. There's some holes in it right now, but that's okay. What I'm going to do to make a crust is I'm going to roll like this. So let me see if I can show you how to do this from the back angle. I'm going to use like this, so you're almost pinching it as you go around to create this edge. There we go. Straighten it out. Smoosh it over here. This will give us a nice handle for when we eat it. Just all around. Okay. I'm going to try and pull it a little bit more on this side. Now, I have a fork here because what I'm going to do with my pizza crust, oh, it's so hard to see. There we go. See that edge? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the prongs, stick it in, wiggle it. Stick it in, wiggle it. All around. I need the air holes because otherwise the pizza dough, that when it cooks and bakes, it's going to rise and bubble up. And you don't want that. You want it to be nice and flat. The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to bake this in the oven before I put any toppings on. I have my oven set to 425. I'm going to bake it for probably about 5-10 minutes, just until it's pretty pale, but it looks like bread. Then I'm going to take it out and put the sauce on and my toppings, and then we're going to go from there. The thing is you can just stick it in. It will be fine. But if you have a lot of toppings on, or you like a lot of sauce or cheese, the middle won't get done. So if you do a little pre-bake or blind bake, essentially, what you're going to get is a firm bottom, and then you can add all the ingredients you want, particularly wet ones, and it won't be raw in the middle. It won't cave underneath. It'll be nice and firm. All right, got all my holes in here. There we go. And I'm gonna pop this in the oven. See you soon. Here's my crust. You'll notice it's still really pale. That's a good thing. I don't want it to be very burnt, and it's nice and moving around. Okay. Don't want it to burn the table. Make sure it's nice and off of it. So now is the fun part. It's time to put on your toppings. So I really like to use this silicone brush. It's very helpful. I am first going to put down this new little thing that I found at the grocery store. It's a garlic spread. I'm going to brush it all over to be on the very bottom, because I think adding a little garlic is going to taste real fantastic. You can put any toppings that you want on here. This is a great thing, kind of like making a breakfast hash where you can get rid of vegetables. However, just be very careful. What I would do, especially for things like mushrooms that have a lot of moisture in them, is cook them down. All right, next is my pizza sauce. Yum. I also like to use pizza sauce in things like quesadillas. All right, just gonna pour a little bit over here. Okay, usually I use about half a jar per pizza. You know your kids best, how much you like. And then with my silicone brush, I'm just going to paint it all around. Make sure that you get it all the way to the edges. You also don't want to have a lot of pizza sauce straight up in the middle because it will make it sag. All right. Yum. Now I'm going to put my freshly grated mozzarella all around. You can also use all sorts of other cheeses with this. A lot of times I will put goat's cheese, chunks of goat's cheese in here. Cheddar, it actually looks like it needs more cheese, but that's because I'm a cheesy person. Okay? And then I'm going to put my mushrooms. If you do something like Brussels sprouts, you can actually do small bits of Brussels sprouts. And then you want to make sure that something like a pepperoni goes on top of it, because then as it cooks, the oil of the pepperoni will cook the Brussels sprout. Same goes for things like broccoli. I usually like to saute onions because, again, they do give out a lot of moisture. And when they bake, they don't actually, to me, taste altogether that wonderful. I kind of like that caramelization. All right, my pepperoni pizza is ready to go back in the oven. We'll see you soon. I've got my oven set for 425 and I'm going to set my timer for 13 minutes because I already blind baked the crust just a little bit, so it cuts down on cooking time. I also added a little bit of cheddar cheese because I'm a cheese monster and wanted some extra. And this is what came out. And we're back. I just baked this at 425 for 13 more minutes after the 5-ish minutes baking the bottom crust. Yum! Look how good that looks. All right. Perfect. Only thing better would be more mushrooms, or any mushrooms. We'll see you next time. Remember, the link to the recipe is in the bottom. Can't wait to talk to you guys. Feel free to leave your comments, subscribe, like, share, all those fun things. And join us next time for SoFAB Kids.